Thank you for the like. Hi, Nisha. Just seen no person. Just want to say hi. Thank you, Zach. Thank you for stopping through. I appreciate it. Um, I'll start in a minute. I'll just wait for some people to come in. Hey, Larry. Thank you for coming through. I appreciate you. Thank you. Thank you. So we are in the last chapters of Proverbs. Um, so we'll be finished with Proverbs on Saturday, I believe. So yeah, we're gonna be reading from chapter 17 to 21 in the book of Proverbs. I'm not. I usually I would do a recap of what we read, but because we're lacking the wisdom books, it's more like application. So it's more of trying to apply this to your life daily, right? So it's good to just maybe take something away from Proverbs that you can apply to your life, and that you can start doing daily. So yes, I'm going to start. So reading Proverbs chapters 17 to 21. So this is chapter 17. Better a dry crust with peace and quiet than a house full of feasting with strife, right? Basically saying that I rather have peace over chaos, right? I rather protect my peace, protect, you know, um, who I am over having all this other stuff that is in my life that doesn't give no benefits to me, right? So I rather have nothing and be in peace and be in joy and be quiet and follow God and knowing that I'm doing the best that I can, instead of being in a house full of pride and greed and everything else. A prudent servant will rule over a disgraceful son and will share the inheritance as one of the family. The curable for silver and the furnace for gold, but the Lord tests the heart. Right? So, God is refining us. God is refining us every day, and He's taking out the impurities. He's taking out what is not clean, right? So, He tests the heart to see if you're being sincere, to see if you're really being faithful, to see if you really follow Him, right? So God is refining you every day. So, don't don't reject it, don't reject it, because it's all part of His plan to keep you pure and keep you clean. A wicked person listens to deceitful lips. A liar pays attention to a destructive tongue. Whoever mocks the poor shows contempt for their maker. Whoever gloats over disaster will not go unpunished. Children's children are a crown to the aged, and parents are the pride of their children, right? And that's how kind of God looks at us. Like he looks at us as His pride. He looks at us as His joy, and the ones who are following right and walking in obedience. He's looking at us like, wow, like look at my children walking and being obedient. Eloquent lips are unsuited to a godless fool. How much more worse lying lips to a ruler. A bribe is seen as a charm by the one who gives it. They think success will come at every turn. Whoever would foster love covers over an offense, but whoever repeats the manner separates close friends. Right? Telling you to change, repent, change your ways. A rebuke impresses a discerning person more than 100 lashes a fool. Evildoers foster rebellion against God. The messenger of death will be sent against them. Better to meet a bear robbed of her cubs than a fool bent on folly. Evil will never leave the house of one who pays back evil for good. Starting a quarrel is like breaching a dam, so drop the matter before a dispute breaks out. Acquitting the guilty and condemning the innocent, the Lord detests them both. Why should fools have money in hand to buy wisdom when they are not able to understand it? A friend loves at all times, and a brother is born for a time of adversity. One who has no sense shakes hands in pledge and puts up security for a neighbor. So we read this before. It's just basically saying, don't be a guarantor. Don't take on someone else's debt, or don't pledge to take on someone else's debt. Like, don't make a foolish oath, right? That's what it's basically saying. Whoever loves a quarrel loves sin. Whoever builds a high gate invites destruction. One whose heart is corrupt does not prosper. One whose tongue is perverse falls into trouble. To have a fool for a child brings grief. There is no joy for the parent of a godless fool. A cheerful heart is good medicine, but a crushed spirit dries up the bones. The wicked accept bribes in secret to pervert the course of justice. A discerning person keeps wisdom in view, but a fool's eyes wander to the ends of the earth. A foolish son brings grief to his father and bitterness to the mother who bore him. If imposing a fine on the innocent is not good, surely to flog honest officials is not right. The one who has knowledge uses words with restraint. Right, so you're able to know, when it's the right time to speak. You're not just speaking out of empty words. You're not just speaking out of nothing. You know when it's time to speak. You know when to, you're good at reading the situation. You just don't, talk just to be talking. And whoever has understanding is even-tempered. Even fools I thought wise if they kept silent, and discerning if they hold their tongues. Chapter 18. An unfriendly person pursues selfish ends, and against all sound judgment starts quarrels. Fools find no pleasure in understanding, but delight in airing their own opinions. Right? So they basically like to hear their own voice. They like to hear what they say, and they are always right, and what they say goes right. So they don't want to hear what other people have to say, right? They don't want to hear no understanding, because what they say is right. They like the sound of their own voice, and it's, they can never be wrong. When wickedness comes, so does contempt, and with shame comes reproach. The words of the mouth are deep waters, but the fountain of wisdom is a rushing stream. It is not good to be partial to the wicked, and so deprive the innocent of justice. The lips of fools bring them strife, and their mouths invite a beating. The mouth of fools are their undoing, and their lips are a snare to their very lives. The words of a gossip are like choice morsels. They go down to the inmost parts. One who is slack in his work is brother to one who destroys. The name of the Lord is a fortified tower. The righteous run to it and are safe. The wealth of the rich is their fortified city. They imagine it a wall too high to scale. Before a downfall, the heart is haughty, but humility comes before honor. To answer before listening, that is folly and shame. So, think before you speak, and don't just listen and it goes out of one ear and then you say something and you just didn't hear what the other person was saying, right? So don't shame yourself, don't be foolish. Listen, and listen before you talk, listen before you speak, right? The human spirit can endure in times of illness, but a crushed spirit who can bear? The heart of the discerning acquires knowledge, for the ears of the wise seek it out. A gift opens the way and ushers the giver into the presence of the great. In a lawsuit, the first to speak seems right until someone comes forward and cross-examines. Casting the lot settles disputes and keeps strong opponents apart. A brother wronged is more unyielding than a fortified city. Disputes are like the barred gates of a citadel. From the fruit of their mouth, a person's stomach is filled. With the harvest of their lips, they are satisfied. The tongue has the power of life and death, and those who love it will eat its fruit. He who finds a wife finds what is good and receives favor from the Lord. The poor plead for mercy, but the rich answer harshly. One who has unreliable friends soon comes to ruin, but there is a friend who sticks closer than a brother. Chapter 19. Better the poor whose way of life is blameless than a fool whose lips are perverse. Desire without knowledge is not good. How much more will hasty feet miss the way? A person's own folly leads to their ruin, yet their heart rages against God. Right? Hey, son. How are you? Thank you for coming through. Alright? A person's own folly leads to their own ruin. A person's own foolishness leads to their own ruin, right? But yet they still want to go and blame God. Yet they still are saying, why are you doing this to me? When it's your own ruin, it's your own fault and your own foolishness. Take accountability of your behavior. And stop trying to blame God. Right? Because it's you. It's you and your foolishness. It's you and your foolishness and being in your simple ways. Right? And then you get angry for your foolishness, and then you go and blame God, and it's not God's fault. Thank you for doing this. You're welcome, Sai. Anything for the Lord. Anything for the Lord. Wealth attracts many friends, but even the closest friends of the poor person deserts them. A false witness will not go unpunished, and whoever pours out lies will not go free. Many curry favor with a ruler, and everyone is the friend of one who gives gifts. The poor are shunned by all their relatives. How much more do their friends avoid them? Though the poor pursue them with pleading, they are nowhere to be found. Help your neighbor, right? You see someone that's in need, you help them, right? Don't just pretend like you can't hear and you can't see and it's not your problem, right? You help them. The one who gets wisdom loves life. The one who cherishes understanding will soon prosper. A false witness will not go unpunished, and whoever pours out lies will perish. It is not fitting for a fool to live in luxury. How much more worse for a slave to rule over princes? A person's wisdom yields patience. It is to one's glory to overlook an offense. A king's rage is like the roar of a lion, but his favor is like dew on the grass. A foolish child is a father's ruin, and a quarrelsome wife is like a constant dripping of a leaky roof. Houses and wealth are inherited from parents, but a prudent wife is from the Lord. Laziness brings on deep sleep, and the shiftless go hungry. But when we're immature spiritually, we get confused. Thank God his mercy persists. We need to just let it go, right? We need to just let it go. You're right. And that's why we need wisdom. Because, how do you mature and get more wiser in your walk with Christ if you don't want to turn from your simple ways, if you don't want to learn and take instructions and be obedient? How do you get that if you just want to always stay naive and always want to be misled and want to be ignorant? You don't want to follow you want to stay in your sin, right? Whoever keeps commandments keeps their life, but whoever shows contempt for their ways will die. Whoever is kind to the poor lends to the Lord, and he will reward them for what they have done. Discipline your children, for in that there is hope. Do not be a willing party to their death, right? Do not be a willing party to their death. Just like God is saying to us, turn from your wicked ways, repent, right? Be obedient, follow instructions. He's disciplining us, right? And he's giving us hope. Why is he giving us hope? He's giving us hope for everlasting life. He's giving us hope that, Jesus is going to come back and he's going to give us a new earth and a new heaven, right? So do not be a willing party to their death. Do not distract that person or get them off their walk, right? You should be able, just like God, tells us when we're doing. We should be able to tell our brother or sister in Christ, hey, you're kind of walking off the narrow path a little bit. Like, you need to get back on, right? You don't want to see them perish. You don't want to see them go down that road, right? So you want to tell them that there is hope, right? You don't want them to perish. You want to tell them there is hope and there's everlasting life, right? So discipline is very important. Thank God he corrects us. Exactly, Larry. Growing and glowing. Oh, I like that side. Growing and glowing. Yes. A hot-tempered person must pay the penalty. Rescue them and you will have to do it again. Listen to advice and accept discipline, and at the end you will be counted among the wise. Do it in love and not condemnation, right? Do it in love and not, like, we are not here to condemn anyone. We're not here to punish anyone. That's not our role. That's not our job. We're here to spread the gospel. We're here to tell the good news. We're here to plant seeds, and then God will water it, and hopefully it will bloom, right? But when Jesus comes back, that's what he's going to do. Judgment is for him, right? That's not for us. That's for when Jesus comes back. We are just here to do the Lord's work, We're here to tell the gospel, to tell about repentance, to tell the good news, to tell people that there is everlasting life, right? There is you can have a new way of living, Many are the plans in a person's heart, but it is the Lord's purpose that prevails, right? You can have all the plans you want, right? But in the end, it's for God's purpose. God has got a plan for you, and when he's ready, he will use you as a vessel to speak his words, right? So you can have all the plans you want in your heart. You can say you're going to go and do this and go and do that, but at the end of the day, it's all God's purpose, for God's purpose, for his glory, right? You know, God's plan. Help each other in the spirit of mercy and love. Amen. We should be. What a person desires is unfailing love. Better to be poor than a liar. The fear of the Lord leads to life. The one then one rests content untouched by trouble. A sluggard buries his head in the dish, he will not even bring it back to his mouth. Flog a mocker, and the simple will learn prudence. Rebuke the discerning, and they will gain knowledge. Whoever robs their father and drags out their mother is a child who brings shame and disgrace. Stop listening to instruction, my son, and you will stray from the word of knowledge. A corrupt witness mocks at justice, and the mouth of the wicked gulps down evil. Penalties are prepared for mockers, and beatings for the backs of fools. Chapter 20. Wine is a mocker and beer a brawler. Whoever is led astray by them is not wise. A king's wrath strikes terror like the roar of a lion. Those who anger him fortify their lives. It is to one's honor to avoid strife, but every fool is quick to quarrel. Sluggards do not plow in season, so at harvest time they look but can't find nothing, right? You don't do nothing. You haven't put the work in, right? You haven't done nothing. You don't do nothing, and then you wonder why you're not getting anything back, right? You look for the harvest, but there's none because you haven't put any work into it. You haven't done anything for you to get that harvest, right? Stop being lazy. Stop being lazy, right? Things are just not going to get handed to you like that. You have to work, right? You have to put in some work. You have to do something, right? You have to do something. Don't be surprised that if you don't do nothing, that you don't get nothing, right? Don't be surprised because you haven't put in the work. So, the purpose of a person's heart are deep waters, but one who has insight draws them out. Many claim to have unfailing love, but a faithful person who can find? The righteous leads blameless lives. Blessed are the children after them. When a king sits on his throne to judge, he knows at all evil with his eyes. Who can say, I have kept my heart pure, I am clean and without sin? You ain't gonna harvest if you don't sow. Right, Si? It's not gonna harvest if you don't sow. So don't be surprised if you don't see nothing if you haven't done anything. Different weights and different measures, the Lord detests them both. Talking about injustice, right? Because you have to make sure that the scales, the weights are balanced, right? God doesn't like when there's injustice, you know. Every small children are known by their actions, so is their conduct really pure and upright. Ears that hear and eyes that see, the Lord has made them both. Do not love sleep, or you will grow poor. Stay awake and you will have food to spare. It's no good, says the buyer, then goes off and boasts about the purchase. I think that's saying if there's something wrong with the purchase, right? Like if there's something wrong, don't go back and tell other people and gossip about it and say bad things about it, you know. Just if you're not happy with it, don't say nothing, or you go to the person, right? Stop going everywhere and gossiping and saying, you know, boasting about how bad the product is or whatever it is. Crop can't grow if we don't sow. Right. Exactly, Si. It can't. It can't. Gold there is, and rubies in abundance, but lips that speak knowledge are a rare jewel. Take the garment of one who puts up security for a stranger. Hold it in pledge if it's done for an outsider. Food gained by fraud tastes sweet, but one ends up with a mouth full of gravel. So be honest, right? 2 ears, 2 eyes, but only one mouth. So keep it right. Try and make it a rhyme. Right, Larry? Better to listen. Right? Right? Plans are established by seeking advice. So if you wage war, obtain guidance. A gossip betrays a confidence, so avoid anyone who talks too much. But basically, kind of what Larry's saying, like, keep your mouth shut, right? Instead of going and gossiping, if someone goes and tells you something in confidence, you keep it to yourself. You don't go and start telling other people, right? That's you talking too much. That's you doing too much. If someone comes and tells you something in confidence, you keep it to yourself, right? Because that person has come to you and they've trusted you with that information, and they've trusted that you won't go around and tell other people and gossip about it, right? So if someone comes and tells you something, you keep it to yourself, right? And if you think that it's a brother or sister that's going off the righteous path, then correct them, right? But you do it between you two. You don't go tell him, her, everyone, right? You don't. If someone curses their father or mother, their lamp will be snuffed out in pitch darkness. An inheritance claimed too soon will not be blessed at the end, right? Stop rushing. All in time, and everything will happen all in time. Stop trying to rush to claim this and claim that, right? Everybody these days wants instant gratification. No, be patient, right? Be patient. When God is going to give you that blessing, he will give you that blessing, right? Stop trying to rush the process. Don't say, I'll pay you back for this. Wrong. Wait for the Lord and he will avenge you, right? Some will gossip in the name of, I'm going to tell you so you can pray, right? I'm going to tell you so they can pray. But if that person is giving you permission, then fine. But if they haven't given you permission, then you just don't. You just don't. If you've gone to that person and you said, can I maybe go to someone else and see about this situation, and you go, yeah, it's fine, then fine. But if they've told you they don't want you to tell anyone, don't tell anyone. Don't say, I'll pay you back for this wrong. Wait for the Lord and he will avenge you, right? He will avenge you. So don't go and take revenge for yourself, right? You wait for the Lord, because vengeance is the Lord, right? You don't take it upon yourself. You leave it to the Lord and he will do justice. Remember King David had many... I'm driving, so I'll be listening. Okay, thank you, Si. Remember King David, right? He had many times to get King Saul back, and he didn't. He left it to the Lord, and he said that the Lord will deal with him and the Lord will punish him when he sees fit. But David never took revenge back, right? He never took revenge back. The Lord detests different weights, and dishonest scales do not please him. A person's steps are directed by the Lord. How then can anyone understand their own way? You can't. It's not to lean on your own understanding, right? Because the Lord is guiding you. He's directing you, right? So you can try as many times to try and do it your way, but I'm telling you, it's not going to work out. It is a trap. It is a trap to dedicate something rashly and only later to consider one's vow. So basically, do not make a foolish oath. Do not make a a promise or anything like that that you cannot keep, right? Do not make anything that you can't keep that you think later down the line that, oh, it's going to become, now it's going to become a problem, right? Think before you speak. A wise king renounces out the wicked, he drives the threshing wheel over them. The human spirit is the lamp of the Lord, it sheds light on one's inmost being. Love and faithfulness keep a king safe. Through love, his throne is made secure. The glory of young men is their strength, grey hair the splendour of the old. Blows and wounds scrubs away evil, and beatings purge the inmost being. Chapter 21. In the Lord's hand the king's heart is a stream of water that he channels towards all who please him. Right? Living water. That God will not leave you thirsty, because he's always going to be replenishing you, and he's always going to be renewing you, right? He will not leave you thirsty, right? A person may think their own ways are right, but the Lord weighs the heart. To do what is right and just is more acceptable to the Lord than sacrifice. Haughty eyes and a proud heart, the unplowed field of the wicked produces sin. The plans of the diligent lead to profit as surely as haste leads to poverty. A fortune made by a lying tongue is a fleeting vapor and a deadly snare. The violence of the wicked will drag them away, for they refuse to do what is right. The way of the guilty is devious, but the conduct of the innocent is upright. Better to live on a corner of the roof than share a house with a quarrelsome wife. The wicked crave evil, their neighbors get no mercy from them. When a mocker is punished, the simple gain wisdom. By paying attention to the wise, they get knowledge. The righteous one takes note of the house of the wicked and brings the wicked to ruin. Whoever shuts their ears to cry of the poor will also cry out and not be answered. Right? So help the poor, help the needy. Don't pretend that you can't see or hear, right? A gift given in secret soothes anger, and a bribe concealed in a cloak pacifies great wrath. When justice is done, it brings joy to the righteous, but terror to the evildoers. Whoever strays from the path of prudence comes to rest in the company of the dead. Whoever loves pleasure will become poor. Whoever loves wine and olive oil will never be rich. The wicked become a ransom for the righteous, and the unfaithful for the upright. Better to live in a desert than with a quarrelsome and nagging wife. The wise store up choice food and olive oil, but fools gulp theirs down. Whoever pursues righteousness and love finds life, prosperity, and honor. Whoever pursues righteousness and love finds life, prosperity, and honor. One who is wise can go up against the city of the mighty and pull down the stronghold in which they trust. Those who guard their mouths and their tongues keep themselves from calamity. The proud and arrogant mocker is his name, behaves with insolent fury. The craving of a sluggard will be the death of him, because his hands refuse to work. All day long he craves for more, but the righteous give without sparing. The sacrifice of the wicked is detestable, how much more so when bought with evil intent. A false witness will perish, but a careful listener will testify successfully. The wicked put up a bold front, but the upright give thought to their ways. There is no wisdom, no sight, no plan that can succeed against the Lord. The horse is made ready for the day of battle, but victory rests with the Lord. The end of chapter 21. The victory is always going to remain with the Lord. The victory is always going to be God. So You can try with your man-made stuff, your worldly things, but in the end, the victory belongs to God, right? No man, no man can stop them. God already said, "Am I a man that I should go back on my word?" He's already told you. It's not. He's not like you. He's not like us. He's different. He built different. You know. Hi, Truth. Thank you for coming through. So that's the end of this chapter. I'll be back. I might be back tomorrow. If not, I'll be back on Friday to do the next chapters of Proverbs. Thank you all that came and listened. Thank you for the likes, and I will see you on the next live. Bye.